Hello and welcome to You Are Your Own Hero. I am Dr. Tassel Faith Shamebrook, and today we are talking about claiming your true power. A powerful component of your true power is your own solidarity with yourself, your own loyalty to yourself, your own commitment to yourself. This is inner union or self-union, and this is really the seat of your true power. The opposite of this is when we abandon ourselves. And when we abandon ourselves, it feels awful internally. We lose our power, and we may unconsciously be pulling into our reality unpleasant situations or experiences. So in this video, I am going to share what I believe is one of the most powerful practices for being in our true power, to be in our inner union, and to not abandon ourselves. In my years of clinical therapy with clients, I have seen this over and over again. It is so common for humans to abandon themselves. In fact, we are really educated, socialized to do so from some of our very earliest ages, with our parents, with our teachers, with our religious leaders. It is so common to be invited to abandon ourselves in order to please other people and to follow other people's agendas for our own lives. So this is, I would say, really epidemic in our society, this abandonment of self. And in my own life experience, I too have abandoned myself. I did this throughout my life for many decades. And it was only after my awakening, and particularly after my divorce, where I had a lot of time to be with myself, to spend time alone, to really connect with myself, that I was able to really have an inner union and to no longer abandon myself. But I still have wobbles around this, and this is in part why I wanted to do this video and share my own story and in general this practice of inner union, self-union, and not abandoning ourselves. So before I share this number one powerful practice to be in your true power, to be in your inner union, I just want to share a personal story that I hope will illustrate the importance of this powerful practice. So over this past weekend, I had received what felt to me like some very harsh interactions, some harsh messages from a very significant person in my life. And this has actually been ongoing for a couple of months. These types of what feel to me like very harsh interactions coming towards me from this person. And from the spiritual perspective, I've been trying to figure out the best way to handle this. And oh goodness, I have thought maybe I'm just being initiated here into some really wonderful spiritual levels of, for instance, keeping my peace no matter what, not necessarily needing anything on the external to feel good, really embodying forgiveness and love, particularly because this person who has been having these interactions with me, I know this person is really finding their voice for the first time and sharing for the first time. And whenever we do something for the first time, we're not always so graceful at it. So trying to be gracious towards this person. I've also tried talking to their higher self around all of this. So I was just trying all these sort of different spiritual practices to move through these very difficult interactions with this person, and really wanting to honor their experience, whatever they were experiencing, and also honor my experience, but not wanting to just overtly judge or like severely criticize this person for these interactions, because I knew they were moving through their own stuff as they were interacting with me in this way. Okay, but what I really realized, that underneath all of this was actually a pretty big fear of abandonment. What I really realized when I really tuned in to what was happening is I realized I was not fully speaking my truth of what I was experiencing in these fairly harsh interactions because of a fear of abandonment. And this significant person in my life actually did not speak to me for several months in the past, in part over some things I had communicated. So there was just a huge fear of abandonment going on here, which was really, truly underneath me not more fully speaking my truth of what my experience was in these rather harsh interactions. So what then happened over this weekend was I was driving home. Over the weekend, I had taken my kids skiing, and I was driving home from the ski slopes, and I was pulled over by a police car. And the policeman said that I had not, failure. The charge was failure to yield. He said that he had been on the side of the road giving someone else a ticket, and I had not moved over to the left lane. And this is not what my reality was. I did not experience that. I believe I was actually in the left lane the entire time, and I wondered if the policeman had mistaken my car for another car. None of it made sense. And he did end up giving me a ticket, and it was all very stressful. And as I was pulling away after he'd given me the ticket, I felt into my feelings. I was feeling very upset. And what came up for me was unfairly accused. That's what I was feeling. I was feeling unfairly accused by this policeman and what he was claiming that I did, which I don't believe I did. And as I more fully tuned into that feeling and those emotions there, I immediately thought of how I had been feeling over the rest of the weekend with some of these very harsh interactions from this person in my life. And I realized it was the same feeling. With this person in my life, I also had been feeling unfairly judged, I would say would be more accurate than accused. And so I had such an aha moment. What I realized was I had really been holding that energy in my field of unfairly accused. I hadn't fully moved it through me, in part because I hadn't really fully spoken my truth to this person. I don't think we necessarily always have to speak our truth in order to move the energy through us. But I think in this particular situation, it was important for me to speak my truth to this person. So I believe what happened was I kept quiet in part because of my fear of abandonment. And I actually abandoned myself and my own truth. And then I had this energy hanging out in my energetic field, and it attracted another situation where I felt unfairly accused. And thank goodness I saw all this and really was reading the reality that was coming into me and could really see all this. And it really felt like an enormous wake-up call to me to always stay in my own truth and not abandon myself or my truth for anyone. So this is the number one powerful practice that I'm advocating for us to all stay in our power. It is to stay in your truth. It is to stay connected to yourself. It is, if it feels aligned, to speak your truth to whoever you need to speak it to, regardless of that it might be uncomfortable for both of you. And do not allow, obviously, hurtful interactions to continue. So I pretty much immediately spoke my truth to this person in my life and basically explained I would not be participating in these types of harsh interactions any longer. And the idea here is we will be loyal, connected, in inner union with ourselves, no matter what. Let the chips fall where they may. If there is an abandonment, then so be it. That would be the highest and best outcome if that happens. But to abandon ourselves is, I feel, it's sort of the worst feeling. It's the worst feeling inside. Sometimes when we have difficult interactions with people and we may abandon ourselves to a degree, out of fear, often fear of abandonment, it feels awful inside. And I think part of that is due to our sadness or disappointment, maybe with how the other person is behaving towards us. But I actually think the greatest unease inside is the feeling that we have abandoned ourselves. That feeling is so uncomfortable. And we know when we feel something so uncomfortable that we are out of alignment, we have turned away from ourselves. So, and I also just want to share another example of this. In my marriage, which was a very unhealthy marriage with lots of very unhealthy interactions, I felt so depressed for years. And I think underlying that depression was this abandonment of myself. That is what the depression was. The depression was the abandonment of myself because I continued to stay in a relationship that was not healthy and was not serving me. So where I've arrived today and what I advocate for everyone else is I trust myself. I trust what is arising in me. I trust my truth. And I remain in inner union with myself at all times, first and foremost. I will not abandon myself. And the last thing I'd like to do here is just to read a short excerpt from my PhD dissertation. This is available if anyone wants to read it. It's about really my life journey and reconstituting myself and my power and coming back to myself. And it's a lot about what I experienced throughout my life, including my divorce. And the divorce was very difficult with custody issues. So I speak about this a little bit here. But this is really about the truth and about being in inner union. So I'll just read a couple quick paragraphs. At times, the truth and my voice expressing it was all that I had. It was as if the conveyance of my truth was my refuge and my fortitude within this tempest. As much power and destruction and institutional intimidation as all of the upheavals circling me seemed to hold, the articulation of my truth felt stronger. There was a sense that if I kept to the truth, persisted in acknowledging and feeling and communicating and sitting in my own truth, that I would outlast every squall. There was an alignment here, an expectancy here, a wholeness here. This was especially precious to me because in other contexts where it desperately mattered, particularly with the custody of my children, my truth did not count for anything. The truth was the safe harbor, the eye of the hurricane, a sacred and protected territory in which to stand. It is a place that I know now better than to ever leave. This is where you can find me from now on. This is the only place that I will be. And this really brings tears to my eyes because I knew this, I learned this, and I wrote about this, and at times I can still forget it through my own fears, particularly about fear of abandonment. But I'm very grateful to have had this experience over the weekend and with this traffic situation, because it brought me back to the truth of my own truth, to always be in my own truth. My own truth is my beloved. And to me, this is one of the most powerful practices for all of us to be in our true power, to be in inner union. So thank you so much for joining me on this video. If you liked this video, giving the video a like or a comment or subscribing to the channel, this all really helps my work. And I also have an amazing You Are Your Own Hero Patreon community that is growing every week, and it's so exciting. We really just help support each other to be in inner union for one thing, and to really be the heroes of our own lives. And there's more information about how to join this wonderful community, which is as little as $5 a month. It's a great deal, in the episode description below. Thank you so much love to you, and so many blessings for you to really claim your true power.